Assalamu alaikum. This is your brother in Tulsa, Oklahoma, brother student minister Alvin Muhammad, and I want to welcome you to this week's edition. Assalamu alaikum. This is your brother in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Assalamu alaikum. This is your brother student minister Alvin Muhammad, and I want to welcome you back to this week's edition of Trumpet on Greenwood, coming to you live from the Greenwood beat, Tulsa's first and only black-owned, woman-owned radio station. This week's edition of Trumpet on Greenwood, been a blessing to be a part of this great beat, Tulsa's first feat of establishing this platform here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I want to encourage you to continue to tune in. Truly been a blessing to be a part of this Greenwood beat here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Let me begin by saying that I bear witness that there is no God but Allah. I want to encourage you to witness that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. And I further bear witness that Minister Louis Farrakhan is indeed the divine reminder in our midst. I greet you, listening audience, in the greeting words of peace and paradise. Assalamu alaikum. And I further bear witness that Minister Louis Farrakhan is indeed with that term, it simply means peace. This is what Jesus did or said every time he encountered or departed from individuals during his time. He used the word peace because peace is what we want to establish in our community. Peace is what we want in our lives. So again, thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of the Greenwood Beat, the Trumpet on Greenwood. Today's subject is, has the black community been Willy Lynched? Thank you for tuning in to this week's edition. The black community been Willy Lynched? I ask this question because the focus of any discussion concerning Willy Lynched among black folk is centered around if Willy Lynched was a real person or not. Malcolm X said we have been bamboozled, which means that we have been thrown into a state of confusion or bewilderment, especially by being deliberately fooled or misled. As a community that we have been thrown into a state of, we have been deliberately misled into a discussion of if Willy Lynched was an actual person instead of if Willy Lynched is an actual system used against black people to keep us divided and at odds with one another. There are numerous memes on the internet that picture individuals followed by the statement, if being broke or being lonely or being disgusted was a person. So let us apply this same thought process to this thing called Willy Lynched and ask ourselves, if Willy Lynched was a person, what and who would he look like? So let us apply according to the system called Willy Lynched. The first step in making a slave was to break the black family unit. In the same way one breaks the horse family unit. According to the system called Willy Lynched, the first whereas as it states in the Willy Lynched system, our mindset, our program, in the same way it reads, whereas nature provides them, the horse, with the natural capacity to take care of their offspring, we white people break that natural string of independence from them, the horse, them meaning black with the natural capacity and thereby create a dependency status. So we white people may be able to get from them independence, useful production for our business and pleasure, and thereby create another word for string is generation or objects tied together. So let us compare the historic Greenwood district to our community today to see another word for string is generation. We have been tied to a system of dependency. If our ability to do for self has been broken as was designed according to the system called Willy Lynched. We have been tied during the 1920s. We were an independent, self-sustaining black community with the capacity to educate and provide jobs for our offspring. During the 1920s, today we rely on the offspring of those who broke and burned down our independent community to provide us with jobs and to educate and provide jobs for our offspring. So if Willy Lynched was a person, would he be personified in the current dependency of the black community on the descendants of the white community that broke the Greenwood district? This is a question we must ask ourselves. The system of Willy Lynched focused on making a Negro or a nigger community that broke The word Negro having its origin in the Greek word necro, which means
the system
dead.
of Willy Lynched focused on
it was the goal of this system of Willy Lynched to break the black people
the
or
word
black
Negro
people
having
from
its origin
one
in
form
the
of
Greek
mental
word necro,
life to another,
which means
to keep
dead.
our bodies, but
it was
take
the
our
goal of
minds
this system
for a long-range
to break
economic
black
planning.
or black people from one
Key to this
form of
process of
mental
producing
life
an
to
economically and
another,
mentally
to keep our
dead
bodies,
people,
but take
according
our
to this
minds
system,
for a
was in the
long-range
deliberate breaking of the black
planning.
woman and her offspring.
Key to this process
The goal
of
was to get the black woman to eat out of the hand of the white man in the same manner that a broken female horse is made to do.
Of the black
and in return, the broken black female would raise her offspring to do the same.
Out of the hand of the
white
black
male, on the other hand, was to be broken like a stud horse
is made to do.
For what is described as limited containment.
Would raise her offspring.
Limited containment is defined as the policy, process, or result
on the other hand, was
of preventing
like a
the expansion of a hostile power or ideology. In this system of Willy Lynched, the black male is considered a hostile power, so he must be broken and contained in order that the rule of the white man remains in place
in this
over
system
the black
of Willy Lynched,
family unit.
The black male is considered
according to recent statistics,
so he must
the race
with
the highest number of fatherless children in America is the black race,
over the black
57.6%, more than half the population.
The race.
So if Willy Lynched was a person, would he be personified in the economically dead and dying condition of black towns in Oklahoma, as well as the declining independent state of black neighborhoods across the nation? Again, this is the question we must ask ourselves.
Of black towns
Oklahoma has close
to
the
declining independent
30 all-black
neighborhoods
across the nation. I should say.
Again, this
close
is
to 30 all-black towns, which allowed us to live free from racism. But today we have become so dependent on whites that we can't survive on our own without the support of our former slaves, which allowed us to live free from racism. But today we have become so dependent on whites that we can't survive on our own without the support of our former slave masters, of the black man and woman, as well as the offspring they produced. By removing the male figure from the home and destroying the black male image, the goal was to cause the black man and woman from her psychological offspring they produced on the black male. By removing the male figure from the home and destroying the black male image, the goal was to cause the black woman to raise her offspring to depart from her psychological dependence on the black male program and fall into a frozen psychological state of independence. 70% which would cause the black woman to raise her offspring in reverse roles, according to 2018 report of women between the ages of 25 and 54. Recent statistics, 62% of white women in America were married compared to only 32% in a 2018 report in a society that promotes of 25 empowerment. It is obvious that that term has a white women in America were married compared to only 32% in the black women. In a society that appears to be entangled with the very obvious that personal lives of Will and Jada in the white community. Some call it a distraction, while I refer to it as reoccurring education. The black community appears to be in this public fiasco. Puts the Willy Lynched program on center stage. Will and Jada Smith. A social experiment. Some call it a distraction, while I refer to reverse the role of the black family unit. By killing the protective male image Willy Lynched program and by creating a submissive, a social experiment which displays how the nigger male reverse the roles of the we have created an orbiting cycle that by turns on its protective male image forever, and by creating a submissive, this very social experiment showcases a strong black male who appears to be emotionally weak. We have created an orbiting cycle that being publicly broken by a cold-hearted black woman who appears to be this very social experiment showcases a strong black male who appears to be emotionally weak. So if Willy Lynched was being perfectly broken by a cold-hearted black woman who the Will and Jada in a psychological state of independence, as well as the broken condition of the black family. So if Willy Lynched was a person, would he be personified? We must in the Will and Jada reflect on family crime and not waste time, as well as the broken condition Willy Lynched of the black family unit in America. Was he ever a human being? These are questions we must look at the system, look at our condition, and ask and not waste time. Are we on if Willy Lynched lives or not, or was he ever a human being, a physical person?
Are we
look at the system, look at our condition
to
fight
ourselves
against one another by this program?
These are serious questions that we must ask ourselves in these very serious times.
Are we being programmed?
It was the goal of this system called Willy
against one
Lynched
another by
to
this
reverse
program.
the nature of the black man and woman, to cause the black male to grow up to be dependent on the black woman for survival. It was the goal of this system called make the black woman more to reverse the nature of the black man and woman,
according to
cause the black male to grow up to be
as early as 2012
black woman for survival.
In the Washington and
to feminize the black
blacks
male
are
and make
more
the black woman
likely to
more
identify
as
as
being gay or
according to
lesbian than any other racial
group
as early
in
as
America.
2012.
And according to
in
a
the
Washington
June 2021 report,
blacks are
in the
more
American
likely to
Medical
identify
Association
as
being gay
about
or lesbian
40%
than any
of
other racial
LGBTQ
in
adults
America. In the United States,
and according to a
are people
June
of color.
2021 report,
So again,
in the American
if Willy Lynched
Medical
was a
Association
person,
Journal,
would he be personified in the present
of
LGBTQ
role reversals
adults in the United States
occurring among people of
black
color.
males and females within
So
our
again,
community
if
and
Willy
within
Lynched
the
was a
United
person,
States? Would he be personified in the present and increasing
also in an article
role
titled
reversals
The
Woman in the New
among
Millennium, black males and females
Honorable-
within our
Honorable
community
Minister Louis
and within the
Farrakhan
United
warns
States
of
one prophesied to come who will bring in
also
a
in an
world
article
contrary
titled
to the nature of
The
Allah
Woman
God,
in the New Millennium,
and the nature in which he
The Honorable
Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan
knowing that the
warns
female
of
is
one
the
prophesied
critical part
to come
of
who
building
will bring in a
of the
world
building
contrary to
process.
the nature of Allah
That
God.
one knew he could
and
not
the
bring
nature
in a
in which
new
he
civilization
created
until
he was
knowing
able
that
to
the female
affect
is
the
the
way
critical
the female
part
thinks.
of building
In this system
the
of Willy
building
Lynched, it is
process.
stated that
That
one knew he
particular
could not
attention
bring in
must
a
be
new
paid
civilization
to the female
and the
he was
youngest
able to
offspring.
affect
The way
both
the
must be
female
crossbred to produce
in
a
this system of
variety
Willy Lynched,
and a
it is
division
stated
of
that
labor.
particular
Both
attention
must be taught to
paid
respond to a
the
particular
female
new
and the
language.
youngest offspring.
Psychological
Both
and
must be
physical
crossbred
instructions
to
of
produce a
containment
variety and
must
a
be
division
created
of labor.
both.
Both must
The most
be taught
honorable
to
Elijah
respond
Muhammad
to a
teaches us that a
particular
nation
new
can
language,
rise no higher than its
psychological and physical
So the
instructions of containment
elevation
must
and,
be created for
elevation
and education of the
most
woman is
honorable Elijah
essential
Muhammad teaches us
in
that
building
a
a
nation
strong
can
and
rise no
independent
higher than
nation.
its woman.
But just as the
So
woman
that
is essential in
in
building a
building
strong
elevation and
independent nation,
elevation
also
and
education of the
to
woman is
produce a
essential
nation of slaves
in building a
because she is the
strong and
first
independent
teacher
nation
of the offspring.
But just as the woman is essential
system of
in
Willy
building
Lynched
a
dictates
strong
that if you
independent
break
nation, the black
she is
female
also
mother
needed
she
to
will
produce
produce
a
a
nation
nation
of
of
slaves
slaves
because
because
she
she
is
is the
the
first
first
teacher.
and when the
of the
offspring
offspring is old enough to work,
The system of
she
Willy
will
Lynched
deliver it
dictates
to
that
the
if you
slave
break
masters,
the
the
black
black female mother. She will break the offspring
in modern
in
times
its
with our
early
modern
years of
education.
development.
And
We
when
tend
the
to dismiss
offspring is
the
old enough to
system
work,
of Willy Lynched.
she would
Not
deliver
really
it to the
understanding
slave
how the
masters
system
for
has
service.
evolved to keep
in modern times
black
with our
people
modern
dependent
education.
in this. We
as
tend
the
to
system dictates.
dismiss the system
It
of Willy
dictates we
Lynched,
break the
not really
natural string
understanding
of
how the
independence
system
from
has
them,
evolved
the slave,
to keep
and
thereby create a dependency
black
status
people
so
dependent
we can get
in
from
this
them useful
as the system
production
dictates.
for our business.
It
and
dictates we
pleasure.
break the natural string
According
of
to a July
independence from them,
2023
the slaves,
tradesman
thereby create a
report
dependency
on
status
demographics
so we can
and
get from them
statistics
useful production
in the United
for our
States. The
business
most
and pleasure.
common ethnicity,
According to a July
tradesman
2023
is white at
tradesman report
65.9%
on demographics
followed by
and
Hispanic
statistics
at 21%.
in the United States, the most
while
common
blacks constitute
ethnicity
only 5.8%
tradesmen
is
of
white
tradesmen
at
in America.
65.9%,
And according to
followed
a
by
BET
Hispanics
report
at
on the top 10
majors
held by
while blacks
African
constitute
American
only
students,
5.8% of blacks are likely to hold a degree
in America.
and students,
And according to a
council,
BET report
followed by
on the top 10 majors
34%
held by
of black
African
students holding
American
a degree in human services,
38% of
and
blacks are
community
likely to hold a degree.
organization.
And
Unfortunately,
student
if our
school
educational
council
system is still
followed by
controlled
34%
by a system of
black
Willy Lynched
students
or white
holding a
supremacy,
degree in human
and we rely on those
and
outside of
community
our community to come in
organization.
and build up. Unfortunately,
And
if our
rehabilitate
educational
our
system
community,
is still in,
then with whose
controlled
knowledge
by
are
a
we
system
counseling
of Willy
young
Lynched
black
or white
students with?
supremacy,
And
we
who is
rely on those
organizing how
outside of
black
our community to
communities
come
are
in and
being
build up
established
and
So I
rehabilitate
ask
our
again,
community.
then with
If Willy
whose
Lynched
knowledge
was a person,
are we counseling
would he
young
be
black students
personified
with,
in
and
black
who is
dependency
organizing
on
how
whites
black
to
communities
build up
are
not
being
only this
established?
nation, but also
So
our
I ask
communities and
again,
neighborhoods?
If Willy Lynched was a person,
Would he be personified in
on the
black
historic
dependency
Greenwood
on white
district
to build up not only this
30
nation,
independent,
but also our communities
self-sustaining
and black
neighborhoods?
towns we developed just in the state of Oklahoma?
When we reflect
compared to the
on the
dependent
historic
food deserts
Greenwood district
we now live in,
and the 30
can we honestly say that we have not been Willy Lynched? We developed just
Willy Lynched may not have been a real person as some of us believe,
food desert,
but he is
we
as
now
real
live
to
in.
black people.
Can we honestly
America
say
as Santa
that we have
Claus
not
and
been
the
Willy
Easter
Lynched?
Bunny?
Santa
Willy
Claus
Lynched
and the
may not
Easter
have
Bunny
been
are
a
not
real
real,
person as some of us
but
believe.
every year we
But
lie
he
to
is
our
as
children
real
concerning
to
the
black
existence
people
of these
in America
fictional
as
beings.
Santa Claus and the Easter
Not only do
Bunny.
we lie about the
Santa Claus and
existence
the
to our
Easter
children,
Bunny are not real,
but we spend
But every
billions
year,
of dollars
we lie
each
to
year
our children
uphold
concerning
these
the
lies.
existence of
We
these
claim
fictional
brings out the
beings.
best of us. Not only
So
do we
we can
lie
spend
about the
billions of
existence
dollars
to our
a year
children,
supporting a
but we
system
spend
of
billions
fictional
of
beings
dollars each
that
year
we
to
claim
uphold
brings
these
out
lies
the
that
best in us.
we claim
Why is it
brings
so
out the
hard
best
for
of
us,
or some of
So
us,
if we can
to
spend
believe that a
billions
system
of
has been
dollars a
put
year
in place,
supporting a system of fictional
beings that we claim
based on a
brings
fictional
out the best in us,
being,
that
why is it
we
so
call
hard
Willy
for
Lynched,
us,
that
or some
brings
of
out
us,
the worst
to
in
believe
us,
that a
while
system has
generating
been put in
billions
place
of dollars in annual revenue for those who put the
based
system
on a
of Willy
fictional
Lynched
being
into
that
our hearts
we
and
call
minds
Willy Lynched
in the black
that
community,
brings out the worst
as
in
was
us
done
while
with
generating
Christmas
billions
and
of
Easter.
dollars in annual revenue.
Let me close
for those who put the
point,
system of
or
Willy
with this last
Lynched
point into our hearts and minds
concerning the system
in the
of
black
Willy
community,
Lynched,
as
referring to a
with Christmas
process
and
that they refer to as interloping.
Let me close this
negatives.
or with this last point
interloping negatives
concerning the system of Willy
the word
Lynched.
interlope
Referring to a
involves
process
a place
that they
or
refer to as
situation
interloping
where one is not
negatives
wanted or considered
interloping
not to belong.
negatives.
The word interlope,
This condition of
involves
interloping
a
negatives,
place or situation
which was the process
where one
of Willy
is not
Lynched,
wanted
or
or
the creation of a multiplicity
belong.
of phenomena of illusions. This
Entails
condition
the
of crossbreeding
crossbreeding
of the nigga in order to create,
which was the
a
process of
diversified division,
or the creation
of
labor.
a multiplicity of
The
phenomena
purpose of this process of
interloping
entails the
was to
crossbreeding of
sever
the
or
nigga
break
in order to create
the point of
a
origin
diversified
for the black race.
division.
In other words, they
of
didn't want
labor.
us to connect.
The purpose of this process of interloping negatives
They were to give each
was to
product
sever or break
of race mixing,
point of
rather that
origin
mixing
for
be
the
with
black
Germans.
race,
In other words, they
Spaniards,
didn't want us to
Englishmen,
connect.
Polish, Greeks, etc. To give each product
They were to give
of race
each
mixing
product
of the slave
of
an
race
illusion
mixing,
of value,
rather that
and
mixing be
history
with Germans,
of origin based
Spaniards,
on who they were mixed
Englishmen,
with, Polish, Greeks, etc.
What we must
to
ask
give
ourselves
each
is,
product,
has this
of race
process
mixing
of the slave an
interloping
illusion of
negatives,
value
has
and
it been
history
effective
of origin
on us
based
today,
on who they
in
were
this
mixed
time
with? And this date,
what we must
in
ask ourselves is,
2023,
has this process
for
of
those of us who do not
interloping
believe
negatives,
there is a
has it
system
been effective
that has been put
on
in
us
place
today,
called
in this
Willy
time,
Lynched,
or that
and this
Willy
date
Lynched ever
in
existed?
2023?
We must ask ourselves, has this
For those of us who do not believe that
these
there is a
processes
system
that this
that has been
system
put in place,
brought about,
called
or
Willy Lynched,
produced
or
in
that
order to keep
Willy
us
Lynched
divided,
ever
have they
existed?
taken
We must ask
an effective
ourselves,
hold
has this
on our
process
hearts and
or
minds
have these
within our
processes
community today,
that this system brought about,
according to
or
a February
produced in order to keep us
2023
divided,
report,
have they
by the
taken
Pew
an
Research
effective
Center,
hold
while the
on our
black
hearts and
population in the
minds
United
within our
States has
community
grown by
today?
30% since
According
2000,
to a February
the number of
2023
people
report,
self-identifying
Research
as
Center,
other than black
while
has
the
increased.
black population in the United States has grown by
30%,
and the number of blacks
since 2000
who say they are Hispanic,
the number of
has
people
increased
self-identifying as other than black has increased. There is also concern that blacks may have been
and the number of blacks
undercounted
who say they
in
are
the 2020
Hispanic
census
has
due to many
increased
blacks
by
no longer
185%.
self-identifying as black.
There is also
concern that blacks may have been
if Willy Lynched was a
undercounted
person, would
in
he
the
be
2020 census due to many blacks
no longer
self-identifying
denial
as
being
black? So I ask you,
These are
questions that we
if
need
Willy
to
Lynched was
focus
a
on.
person,
We should no
would he
longer
be
waste time
personified in
arguing
our
over
present
if Willy
interloping
Lynched existed
or
or not.
denial
Let us look at
of
our
being
condition
black.
to see if there's a
These are
system
questions
of
that we
Willy
need to
Lynched
focus
that
on.
keeps
We
our
should no
community
longer waste
divided
time
and at
arguing
odds
over
with one
if
another.
Willy
This
Lynched
should be the
existed or
focus
not.
of our
Let us look at our condition to see if there's a
communication
of
as it
Willy
relates
Lynched
to Willy Lynched.
that
Not if he
keeps our
existed, not if he has a
divided
birth
and at
certificate.
odds
He was a
with
part
one
of the
another.
first
This should
13
be the
colonies,
focus of
which
our
were still
controlled by the Europeans. Communication. So they didn't have the system in America. Not if he existed. Not if he has a birth certificate and things of that nature. He was a part of the first 13 colonies, which were if he did exist. Controlled by the Europeans. Concerned with that. So they didn't have the system in America. How we relate to one another today. Record records. Are we at odds with one another? Willy Lynched did not want the older generation and the younger generation to have respect for one another. We need to be concerned with so look at us how we relate to one another today. We talk about how odds with one another. Willy Lynched did not want say when we the older generation and the younger generation to have respect for one another. You would not only get corrected by your teacher. We talk about how when we grew the neighbor down the street. We always say when we grew and then when you got home you couldn't do it. You couldn't get away by your parents. But today you not only get corrected by your teacher, you gonna get shot at school. You would be corrected by the neighbor down the street. Parents defend. And then when you got home, you were whereas when by your parents. But parents today, if we touch somebody, children, you're gonna get shot. Things have changed, but that's because the younger generations don't see the children's behavior, the corrective. Whereas when we grew up, the elders, parents sided with the teachers. So Willy Lynched has been successful in separating the youth, the younger generation, don't from one another. The corrective. These are the process elders that Willy Lynched thing of value to establish. So Willy Lynched has been successful in seperating. So we don't have to worry about elderly from one another. We have to look and see if these are the processes that Willy Lynched exist in our community to establish within our community. If we're honest with ourselves, so we don't have to worry about if he exists. Willy Lynched. We have to look and see if the system laid out of Willy Lynched in the Willy Lynched in our community lecture today has taken hold. If we're honest with ourselves, everything that which is why we are Willy Lynched are find it difficult to work laid out in the Willy Lynched. We are divided. We don't have the love that we should have for one another, which is why ourselves are find it ridiculous rate. One with another of the lack of love and respect. We are divided. We don't have the in our community, and this should have for one another. System we're killing ourselves at that there is no value rate in the life because of the lack of love. If he or she is killed by another black person, but this is all a part of a white person kills us, particularly a police officer. That there is no value. Hit the streets and shut down highways and protest if he or she is killed by another black person. When a white person kills us, that a white person kills us. Particularly that we can get a return on, and we are hitting the streets and shut down highways. Black person kills another black person, killing because when a white person kills us, that represents something of value, something that we can get a return on ourselves like that when it comes to a black life. But we can say person kills another black person, but if black lives don't matter to other black people, then that's a shame. Black lives don't matter. So brothers and sisters, we have work like that when it comes to a black life. We can say system black lives matter, but if black lives don't matter to other black people than one another, that keeps black lives don't matter. Fighting with one another, we have work. We wonder why we are not having progress in our community because we have been conditioned not to work at odds with one another. It's hard to find as a black business owner with one another. We wonder why we are not having progress in our black men because we have been conditioned not to work with one another, to not have respect. It's hard to find as a black business owner. So if a black person tells us to do something, other black we have a problem with that. Younger black men, because our white counterpart we have been conditioned tell us to do the same thing. We jump at the opportunity to show how good we can work. So if a black person tells one of our own tell us what to do, we have a problem with that. But so our white counterpart can tell us to do the same thing. We have to jump at the opportunity, but in order to show how we have to recognize that one of our own tell us what to do in our community. We have a problem. Don't be concerned with if. So this is all a part of a condition as a person exists that we have to break, brothers. But in order to break it, we have to recognize that it exists in our community. That has don't be concerned with if the programming Willy Lynched as a person in our hearts and our minds. Let us focus, brothers and sisters, work on to identify reality and of rid ourselves of such mental has implemented so we can come together as a community of Willy Lynched and improve our hearts and our minds condition work that we identify and rid ourselves of such spiritual sickness so we can come together as a community and improve so that we can come together truly as brothers and sisters exist in and do something to improve the condition spiritually that we exist economically. Thank you for tuning in to this week's edition so that we can come together Trumpet on as brothers and sisters. Look forward to something to improve seeing you next week that we exist in. Thank you for tuning in to this beautiful platform called the Greenwood, the Trumpet on Greenwood. Thank you for tuning in. Look forward to seeing you next week.